All right, we interrupt this vacation of mine for me to come back on the air. This is Michael Savage. You say, well, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is this. I was supposed to be off the whole week. I was off all last week. But, you know, when I woke up last night, it's funny, I woke up 3:30 in the morning. People in the house with me, everyone woke up separately, 3:15, 3:30 in the morning. No one could sleep, and everyone had a different reason for it. There's something in the air. There's something in the air when we have an incompetent president, when we have a team playing for the other side, when we have Big Sis who was so amiss that she says everything worked fine when she destroyed everything that we know about security on the airlines and she still has her job. If Obama had a shred of survival skills, which I'm sure he does, he would understand that the American people need someone to be fired so they have a sense of security, because right now we feel that we have no security whatsoever. And that leads me to the first question. I know you've all heard this by now, because I heard it myself and I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. And so I advised that my fill-ins play it over and over and over all week. Listen to what clip one has for you. Hold on. This is the so-called Director of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano, who I affectionately named Big Sis a few years ago, who says everything worked fine. We're talking about the crotch bomber. Listen to clip one.
One thing I'd like to point out is that the system worked. Everybody played an important role here. The passengers and crew of the flight.
Wait a minute. What role did you play? Wait a minute. You played no role other than, well, I don't have to fill in the blanks. Everyone played an important role. If it wasn't for that Dutchman who jumped over the seats, you would have had 300 dead people. What do you mean everyone played a good role? What did you do other than put out bureaucratic bullcrap, Janet? No, I'm sorry. This country it's like riddled with like a Swiss cheese. The security of this nation is like Swiss cheese with holes in it. The terrorists are laughing at us. Did you see the other one? Did you see the other story? 5 American Muslims are being tried in Pakistan for terrorism. Now, why is that an important story? There's 5 more Muslims, 5 more American Muslims, radicalized at a mosque in America, another set of radicals. They go to Pakistan to kill. It takes the Pakistanis to try them. We in America bend over backwards to let them teach each other how to kill us. Have you ever seen a country like this? Can you believe this country can survive with the kind of mentality that is running it? Let me explain it to you. Let's make it 1940. It would be as though there's a German school in America teaching American Germans to blow things up and to kill Americans and to kill Jews. Let's say a little kicker on it. Go and kill Americans, blow up troop trains, blow up ships. And the FBI in 1940 would say, well, but we can't focus on Germans because it would not be ethnic profiling, it would be nationalist profiling, and we can't pick any one country. So we'll spend all of our resources looking up nuns' dresses. We'll spend our resources looking inside the diapers of babies, but not inside the diapers of Muslim terrorists from Nigeria, because it would be insensitive to do so. We'll inspect your baby's diaper, but not the diaper of a Nigerian Muslim who got on a plane without a passport. That's the country you're living in, you schmucks, you. You let it happen. You damn Democrats did this to this country. The country is out of control. Big Sis needs to be fired. Or who is it that you blame for this? Please, if you're going to tell me it's Bush's fault, don't even call the show. Call a crypt, go to a mausoleum and yell at yourself. Lay down with the vampires that you play with. Don't tell me it's Bush's fault. He was bad enough, but now it's worse. Bad enough under Bush. Sitting on the little stool after 9/11. Sitting in the little chair, you think I don't remember? The little chair in the schoolroom, Mr. President, 3 planes just went into the World Trade Center. He looked up like, duh? But I'm supposed to be in a school pretending to be whatever. All right, Mr. President, let's get you up in the air right now. I remember that. This is worse, though, much worse. Here you have a guy who was stopped only because a brave Dutchman, literally the Flying Dutchman, let's call him. I'll name the Flying Dutchman. Was it not for the Flying Dutchman, you would have had 300 some odd dead people, and God knows what would have happened in the city when the plane came down. But the Flying Dutchman and Napolitano, Big Sis, puts on leather. She straps on leather, and she goes on to Larry King or one of the other schmucks on CNN, and again she says everything's fine on the leather coat. What's the leather coat for? What's the accoutrement, I'd like to know? What's the leather coat got to do with it? What's the symbol, that she's tough? Well, I'm sure she's tough on returning American veterans. I'm sure she's tough on any American who loves secure borders. I'm sure she's tough on anyone who loves the American flag. But she seems to be a weakling when it comes to Nigerian Muslims and Muslims who might kill us. And why am I saying Muslim? Because you schmuck, if you can't put 2 and 2 together yet, you'll never add up 4. You idiots, you. Who the hell do you think is doing this to us? It's not Irish Catholics. But listen to this. If you think I'm the only one who is saying this, you're right. I am the only one saying it. Here is a man, you may have heard this already. Here's a former FBI agent named Michael German, now working for the ACLU. Now, I'm not making this up. Here is a man who used to work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who took a job with the anti-American ACLU, telling us why we cannot profile possible terrorists. Listen to the mentality of the schmucks who are supposed to protect us. Listen to clip 19.
Terrorists come in all shapes and sizes, all nationalities, all different political and religious causes. You know, if you look around the country, there have been any number of white supremacist and neo-Nazi sort of activities. A dirty bomb was found in Bangor, Maine, December of last year. A chemical weapon was found in Noonday, Texas in 2004. Neither one of those events were covered very much because they were white supremacists and right-wing militias.
I can tell you by the lisp in his voice how he got the job in the FBI and how he got the job in the ACLU and why his mind is twisted. You know, there's a saying that, let me put it to you this way. He who alters, alters all, or shall I say, the mind that alters, alters all. And when you alter your mentality to such an extent that you start saying, oh, no, although they're mostly Muslims, they're not only Muslims, and therefore we should look at white supremacists now for the next bomb attack. Listen to this schmuck in clip 20 now.
Of course, there are Irish terrorists, there are Puerto Rican nationalist terrorists, there are South American drug courier terrorists. You know, it's simply an ineffective way. You know, it's unconstitutional, it's ineffective, and it's actually counterproductive.
You piece of garbage, you shut up. Shut up! It's why people are dying. Don't you understand? It's twisted perverts like this that are destroying America. I have no other words for it. I'm a pretty straightforward, blunt guy. I don't have the words other than twisted pervert. Here's a man who got his job in the FBI because obviously the FBI goes to work for the most un-American, seditious organization the people have ever tolerated called the ACLU. And he says we shouldn't look at Muslims, that there are Irish terrorists, there are Puerto Rican terrorists, etc. And then he goes on and he explains that the reason they're bombing us is because we are looking at them. Listen to clip 22. This is the final statement of a twisted mind that belongs in an asylum. Listen
One
to
of the
this
triggers for terrorists is experiencing racism. So obviously developing racist counterterrorism policies is quite counterproductive.
I rest my case. He's saying that we are the victims because we are profiling Muslims. That if only we would accept more of their terrorism, there'd be less terrorism. Do you hear what he just said? Now, look, this is 2010. In a couple of hours, it'll be 2010. We will have survived another decade, the first decade of a new century. And I got to tell you something. I remember the Y2K garbage. I was on the radio. I said it's a bunch of garbage. I said it's never going to happen. I did. I know some local guys, they made a big deal, Y2K. I said, you're crazy. It's a conspiracy thing. It's never going to happen. They're out of the radio business. Didn't last. They told you to go buy dried nuts and dried seeds and petrol and bullets. Remember those days? How many of you still stuck with the nitrogen-based wheat in your cellar? Who's going to buy it from you? Maybe Rick Warren can use it as a donation. Send it to his mega church. Dried wheat they had for Y2K. So now we got the global warming hysteria. The world's coming to an end, but the schmucks almost froze to death in Copenhagen. And now we have terrorism being conducted by Muslims, and we got the FBI saying we can't look at Muslims. I'm not even going to go there, said the defense secretary now, Gates. Remember that after the Fort Hood massacre by a Muslim? Allah Akbar, screamed. And he opened up and killed people. So one reporter has the guts to say to the defense secretary, something about, did he scream Allah Akbar? Oh, I'm not even going to go there, says Mr. Gates. It's systemic, the insanity under Obama. The insanity is systemic. And people said to me over the weekend, this does not end well. Everyone said to me, everyone I met, Democrat and Republican alike, said to me, this is not going to end well. We have such a group of incompetent people running America. Half of them are probably playing for the other side, by the way. They said that to me. I didn't go there yet. I'm not willing to accept it. We have such an incompetent group of psychopaths running this country, left-wing radical psychos. They still think it's a college campus. This does not end well. So I said, well, what do you mean it doesn't end well? They said to me, what happens is a dirty bomb goes off in a city, and instead of going after the others who are in the waiting, the other imams, the other Muslims waiting to kill us, they'll go after the patriots. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a world upside down. Janet Napolitano has to go, yes or no. I'll be right back.